supposed to wear a country hat? I didn't know. No one
Shane
told
and
me.
Shane live talk. And Otep didn't get the country hat memo, but
No
her
one told me.
hair is so fabulous, it don't matter. We are so
Don't
excited to
matter.
have the one and only Otep Shamaya, along with country star Simone Reyes in the house. These women are fierce, and they were part of our incredible vegan cooking show that is currently on Amazon Prime. There is the cast of New Day, New Chef. That was our cast party right before the pandemic became a thing. And it is doing really, really well. It is free for Amazon Prime members on Amazon Prime. I have a link in the introduction to this live video, so check it out, people. So Otep, tell me what you've been up to. How are you handling this strange era?
I've been doing a lot of talking to my walls, and it's only until recently they decided to start talking back, which I'm very happy about because it's pretty lonely. Um, I've just been staying busy, trying to stay informed. I did get tested for COVID because here in LA County they allow you to get tested. I came back negative, so I'm happy about that. Yeah, it wasn't as bad as everybody I think is afraid of the nasal swab. It is mildly uncomfortable, but not nearly as uncomfortable as getting the coronavirus. So I was pretty happy about it. It wasn't nearly as bad as even getting one of my many tattoos. But other than that, just been writing on a couple of music projects and organizing an event to help raise money for the Navajo Nation, who's this virus is just wreaking havoc through their and so working on that, and that's about it. A lot of social media.
Yeah, and I just want to show, I was reviewing some of your incredible punk legendary songs last night, getting ready for this interview, and there's just one screen grab. You are fierce, lady. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I'm looking at your music and I'm like, this voice, you're so soft spoken in real life, but then when you sing, it's like this. I mean, it's unbelievable. And people at home, if you haven't checked it out, just go to Otep's YouTube or just Google Otep, OTEP, baby.
Just Google me. Just
Wow.
Google me.
Wow,
Yeah.
just Google me. I think that's a good.
Yeah.
If you do a song called "Just Google Me," because that
Yeah.
would. Be so
There's so many double entendres in that, though, Jane. There's so many.
So your buddy, I want to thank Simone Reyes because some of the most absolutely fun people we had on New Day, New Chef were thanks to the one and only country music star, Simone Reyes.
Yeah.
Who introduced me to you, Otep. So what was it like being on New Day, New Chef and being part of the vegan cooking revolution?
I cannot tell you how much easier New Day, New Chef has made my life. I mean, all you have to do when somebody says, oh, I don't know that I could cook vegan, or I'm going to miss this, or I don't have the time, or I don't have the to just be able to be like, do you have Amazon? Everybody has Amazon. And so just to be able to tell them, like, not only can you watch an episode, but Otep is on it, and I'm on it, and Christina Leese, like, there's so many 90210 fans, like, from back in the day, and John Sally, and so many people that came and joined, and I'm so thrilled that, you know, we got to be a part of it. It was an honor.
It was.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you, Otep, for being, and Simone, for being a part of it. And you guys were great. And Otep, you were on the very first episode. And the funny part is that, again, you're so calm and soft-spoken, and your music is diametrically opposed to that. Explain that, because I was kind of like, I had met you a couple of times, but I never really, thought about you, your music, your persona. And then when we were working together, I wasn't sure whether you were going to flip a table or sing at the top of your lungs. And you were so calm and gentle. And I was like, wow, Otep has two diametrically opposed sides to her.
Are you saying I'm bipolar, Jane? Well, it just, I'm just a grab bag of goodies, really, is what it comes down to. If you wanted me to flip a table over while we were doing the show, I would have been easy, more than happy to comply. Um, a lot of people say that to me, where they'll listen to the music and then they'll meet me in person, and I have definitely have a much more, I guess, low key, um, personal presence, unless you get me angry or something like that, and that's normally not with my friends. But the way I look at it is like, a boxer, when they're not in the ring, they don't just go down the street just knocking everybody out. Like a football player, when they're on the field, they're wearing pads. They don't just tackle people on the street. So when I'm writing a song, there's usually a message behind it, and if it's got that kind of primal emotion to it, it comes from a reason. It comes from a point of view or a source that has caused me to feel those emotions, and so I have to convey them through the art. And so what you see on stage and what you see and hear on music videos or on records, those are real emotions. They're just not real emotions that I think a lot of people want to deal with in a one-on-one situation with me.
Yeah, and I want to say, by the way, both these ladies are going to be part of our virtual Veg Fest LA this Sunday. And just go to vegfestla.org, noon Pacific time at about 2 o'clock. These ladies will come on with a whole bunch of others from the cast of New Day, New Chef. We're going to have Dotsie Bausch, the Olympian. We're going to have a whole slew of people. Chef Babette, who is wearing the turban there right in the middle. She's an amazing chef. And she really rocked it. In fact, we didn't know which image that Amazon was going to pick to just sort of epitomize the entire show. And this is the image they picked of Chef Babette. And I got to tell you, this woman is 69 years old, and she is living proof of the miraculous benefits of a plant-based diet, because look at those arms, and she can do a 5-minute plank. We put her up against somebody less than half her age, and she outlasted them. So she is absolutely amazing. We also had on, and we will have on Veg Fest LA, but if you go to Amazon Prime and watch New Day, New Chef, the Olympian Dotsie Bausch. She won an Olympic medalist as a cyclist, the oldest one to get on the stand as a vegan. And one final one, we have these bodybuilders who are on. The guy on the left served in the military, 100% vegan. The other guy, Jeff, it's Corinne Sutton. They're just amazing guys. And Ryan Nelson. And Ryan Nelson on the right, with the beard, is a former hunter and professional football player. Not that those two go in hand. I mean, obviously Tom Brady is a vegan, but he switched to a vegan diet, and now his muscles, the muscles of these two guys on a 100% plant-based diet are living proof that you do not need to eat animals to, in any way, shape, or form, have protein or to have muscle. You want to comment on that, both of you? Maybe we'll start with you, Shemaya.
Sure.
Ms. Shemaya, to you.
Sure, Velez Mitchell, no problem. Yeah, I mean, I'm a vegan powerlifter. It doesn't show. Obviously, I'm not as huge as those guys because women don't have as much testosterone, which means we don't build as much muscle. But people will come to me and say, "How is it that you can, as a vegan powerlifter and supposed to be protein deficient, can you deadlift 355 pounds?" Well, that's because our bodies are designed to process and plants and get the protein and the fiber and the nutrients from them much easier than meat. It's much harder to absorb those nutrients from flesh. And when I made that switch, not only was I able to keep my diet in check, but I was also able to feel stronger. I was able to get stronger. And, a lot of people will say, that old phrase, "I want to be strong as an ox." Well, an ox is vegan. The strongest land mammal on the planet, which is an elephant, is vegan. The oldest animal on the planet, a tortoise, is vegan. I mean, so there's even I was reading recently about since the national parks have all closed down, and they were talking about bears, who we know are carnivores. I think they said 67% or so of their diet is plants and berries. The rest is, of course, salmon and any little critters they catch. But for humans, even though people try to claim we're omnivores, sure, we can eat plastic if we want, and sometimes we do. That's what they put in our food, especially if you go to fast food. But it doesn't mean that just because we can eat it, we're supposed to eat it. Doesn't mean we're going to get the best results out. And so for me, I've seen.
Well, we'll let you answer while she comes back on.
Well, yes, let me definitely talk to you about how much I can deadlift. I mean, it's, no, but just feeling lighter after a meal, for runners, for people that love to go to the gym all the time. I mean, you don't want to feel weighted down after a meal, and you certainly don't want to have to set yourself up for gaining weight. Obesity is one of one of the best ways to fight obesity is to go plant-based. So yes, for everybody who wants to just, eat clean, the only way to eat clean is obviously to be vegan, especially now that we're hearing that, unfortunately, that diapers are part of a normal day at slaughterhouses for the workers.
Oh yeah, let me talk to you about that, because there's been a huge effort. Here we go. America, it's time to move away from meat. This full page ad in the New York Times as well. This is the Washington Post version. We had the head of LULAC, which is the largest Latin American civil rights organization in the country, on yesterday, and they are doing Meatless May, because they are protesting the conditions of the slaughterhouse workers, most of whom are immigrants, in the slaughterhouses. They gave me these photos to show that social distancing is well near impossible in these slaughterhouses, which is why they've become hotbeds of coronavirus. And then with the Trump administration saying we're going to use the Defense Protection Act to force these workers to go to work with no recourse and strip them of their rights, basically the Trump administration is saying, the desire to eat a bacon, a cheeseburger is more important than the lives of these individuals. And you mentioned how they are systematically mistreated. And I'm looking for the some of the headlines that show not only are meatpacking plants the epicenter of these coronavirus outbreaks, and many are dying, but additionally, this is what I was looking for. It came out in all of this. This has been going on for years, but it just came out because people are focusing on the slaughterhouses, that poultry workers and other slaughterhouse workers are denied bathroom breaks, and they have to wear diapers so that they urinate in their pants. And if they don't have the diapers, they can urinate in their pants to keep the assembly line of death going. And of all the things that I've heard about slaughterhouses, and I've been to many, so have you, to me, this struck me as the epitome, really the essence of the dehumanization and the cruelty in one headline. Poultry workers are denied bathroom breaks and told to wear diapers. This is not from me. This is from Oxfam that did an investigation into it. Simone Reyes, your thoughts?
Well, listen, I mean, the thought of ingesting feces, is that not enough for people to be like, okay, you know what, I'm kind of done with that? We already know that, right? They've done many studies and found actual feces in the food. Is it just me that I don't want to eat that in my food?
Reports did a study of hundreds of packages of ground beef and found that 100% of them contained feces. And what a great segue to introduce Otep back into the conversation.
It's always a great segue when you introduce me right after feces. Awesome.
Well, I just want to say one thing. The reason we're wearing our cowboy hats, and mine's super patriotic.
Oh, yeah.
The most patriotic thing you can do right now is to go vegan, to go plant-based. In fact, LULAC, the largest Latin American civil rights organization in the United States, is calling for Meatless May. Meatless May, because these workers are dying. They are dying, and they are getting infected by the hundreds. And so we have various there's another union leader, Kim Cordova, who we also interviewed. These workers are terrified, and they are being told, no, you're an essential business. You need to go in. And it doesn't matter if you are sick. It doesn't matter, how you're feeling and whether you'll go home and infect your relatives. We want you to go in. And here's another headline: JBS meat plant really to shut down. Employees concerned about lack of communication. People are also equating a meat shortage with a food shortage, which is so misleading. And the news media is doing this, Otep. They're saying, well, the meat plants are shutting down, therefore we're having a food shortage. Now, these are smart people. I worked with them for 38 years, mainstream media people. They're not stupid. It's obvious that a meat shortage is not a food shortage when animals eat something like 40 times more than they produce as food, the most inefficient food source. You get rid of the inefficient food source, you'd have more food. 70% or more of all soy is fed to farm animals. You get rid of the farm animals, you'd have 70% more soy for people to eat. And just because the shelves don't have a bunch of meat on them, they have Beyond Meat burgers, they have all sorts of vegetables and fruits and nuts and grains and pastas and everything else that one could eat. So what do you make of this false connection between a food shortage and a meat shortage, Otep?
Well, as you I'm sure are well aware, in media, chaos sells. Confusion sells, terror sells. People that are afraid, that sells, that gets viewers to watch more than saying that everything is going to be okay. This is just happening. It's always been sort of a running gag between carnivores who will say things like, being a vegan makes you elitist. And I'm like, a can of corn is like 79 cents. That makes me elitist? Really? I don't get it. But, a lot of these, I was reading one article a few weeks ago where some dairy farmers, if you want to call them that, folks who gather milk, they were dumping their milk down the drain because they said they didn't have anybody to sell it to. And then I think it was Governor Cuomo out of New York who said, no, we'll buy it from you and we'll give it to food banks. So there's not a food shortage. That's a lie. It's just there might be a meat shortage because, number one, a lot of these viruses, including the one that we're currently experiencing, are zoonotic, which means they jump from animal to human. And now, in some cases, we found that they've jumped from animal to human to animal. And these meat plants, they've always been filthy and disgusting. But now now that there is this pandemic going on, thanks to the orange buffoon in the White House, we are now he's requiring these workers to go back to these slaughterhouses and meatpacking plants, and not requiring that the owners of those meatpacking plants and those slaughterhouses provide them with any additional protection to keep them from this is terrible, to keep them safe from getting this disease. And what these images you're showing are prime examples of what makes a really good incubator for these kinds of viruses, where these animals are kept in very confined spaces, in their own filth. And sorry, I don't mean to get you graphic on your show, but they're, it's not very clean. That's why they pump it full of antibiotics, which then causes, certain viruses to become antibiotic resistant. And, there's plenty of land. If we stopped raising livestock for food and turn that into farm land, and we raise those crops for people, I think there's estimates that we could end world hunger within a year.
Of course we could. Yeah. We're the overwhelming majority. When you fly over the United States or anywhere, Europe, anywhere, and you see all those fields of farm, those fields of crop, corn and soy and all. They're not feeding people. They're being fed to farm animals.
Yeah.
It takes 8 to 25 pounds of grain to create 1 pound of steak. So it's simple.
And that same amount of grain feed an entire village.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Like, Yeah, and not even to mention the amount of water that it takes to feed. I mean, I have an animal sanctuary. We have livestock. I mean, we have to have these gigantic, 5,000 gallon big water containers just for two of our animals to maintain fresh water. So just the amount of water that it takes to make sure that these animals get as much water as possible as well could be used for, again, human. And people ask, well, what do you do with all the animals that are in the slaughterhouses? Well, they just can go to sanctuaries, and
Well,
then
stop raping them
nature takes
into
its course.
existence. Here's the
Exactly.
other things. We're all feminists. And we try to explain to feminists, Simone Reyes, that it's not feminism to drink, for example, milk. And by the way, milk would be out of business. It would have been absolutely it's circling the drain. But the U.S. government keeps buying it with our tax dollars, forcing us to subsidize an industry that is based on a false premise that we should be drinking the breast milk of another species. And once we're weaned from our own mother's milk, there's no need for us to drink the breast milk of another species. And we know that in order for us to drink it, baby calves have to be ripped away from their mothers. Here's a shot of a calf dead pile. They don't need the boys. They either leave them on dead piles or they put them in veal crates, and the girls are pushed into these little pods. I mean, it's a systematized torture is what it is. So instead of just letting dairy die, remember when there were animal activists who jumped on stage when Joe Biden was speaking, when various others were speaking, and said, let dairy die, let it die. We've got soy milk, rice milk, hemp milk, cashew milk, almond milk. It's healthier for you. It's zero cholesterol. It doesn't have antibiotics. It doesn't have pus. Instead, our government, which is so in bed with the meat and dairy industry, forces us to use our hard-earned tax dollars to buy all this stuff up. And then they shove it down the throats of prisoners, school kids, and people in nursing homes. And now, with kids being at home, they're actually not drinking all that cow's breast milk. They're probably getting a lot healthier as a result. Why do you think Donald Trump wants to open the school so badly? So that they can keep forcing that cow's breast milk down the throats of those school kids who really don't want it. You have to be indoctrinated to drink that stuff. Simone.
Well, I've said, for years now that it's the most hypocritical thing I've ever heard is for a woman to say, oh, I'm a feminist. Well, let's see. Are you against rape? Because rape culture is running rampant in the dairy industry, right? They have rape racks. We as activists didn't come up with that term. That's a farmer's term. A mother cow, as we know, makes enough milk to feed her baby. It would be like if all of a sudden, a woman gave birth and then the entire town just lined up until she died, expecting her to continue to produce milk. Well, she wouldn't be able to do that. She would run dry. So every man in the county would come and rape her and keep her perpetually pregnant and constantly producing. I mean, that is what is happening every day. That's normal life on a factory farm for dairy cows. And so no, you cannot say that you are a feminist and be drinking dairy. There's mother's rights, there's female rights, there's rape culture, all of it.
Right.
But Otep, let me ask you, you are the ultimate feminist. Not that we aren't, we're feminists, but you're like the fierce Otep punk rocker. And yet, I'll never forget when I was at the Women's March, and we had a vegan contingent who were also feminists and feminist ally males. And then we had women who were feminists, but they weren't vegan. And I was trying to explain to them and do not want to hear. So, if you're only going to have compassion for an issue that affects your immediate perimeter, then how can you attack people who don't have compassion for you? If we're fighting, I'm a lesbian, for gay rights, if we're fighting as a woman for women's rights, if we are fighting as people of color, for example, I'm a Latina, for workers' rights, how can then we can look at those groups and say, well, we care about that, but we don't care about the suffering of animals. because, oh, I'm not an animal, therefore I'm not going to have compassion because I only care about what I think affects me, even though it does affect you. It's killing you because it's killing the planet and it's ruining your health, et cetera, et cetera. But in your perception, there's a wall. And I'm not going to extend my circle of compassion beyond that wall of what immediately impacts me.
Right. Well, it begins essentially with speciesism in the very beginning, because you'll have people who say, "Oh, I'm an animal lover. I love animals," and they have dogs or cats, but they still eat meat. Well, you can't be an animal lover and eat meat. You can be a pet lover. You can say that, but you can't claim to be an animal lover and still eat meat or dairy or eggs or fish or anything. If anything that you consume has been murdered by and what had a sentient life before that, you can't say that you can't sort of stand up and say, well, I'm a pet lover. No, I mean an animal lover. No, you're a pet lover. And if you say that you're a feminist, but then you don't stand up for the rights of all females, and that means all earthlings, and that's what all of everything that's on this planet basically is an earthling, especially animals who can't help themselves. I've had people who say, because the dairy industry is such a great lobby group, right? That got milk, does a body good. I mean, we've heard that. We all grew up with that. But when I challenge them on things, I say, well, why is it specifically cow milk? Why do we drink that? Why do you think that? And they don't really have an answer. And so I will go on to say, well, would you drink your dog's milk? And they say, no, that's disgusting. And I say, well, would you drink camel milk? And they say, oh, no, that's disgusting. I say, well, what about your neighbor's milk?
Cat milk.
Cat milk. What about your neighbor's milk? She just gave birth. Would you drink her milk? And they all go, oh my God, no. I mean, some of them might have said yes on the neighbor, but that's a whole other show. But the fact is, no one can really answer why they still drink it, and we're, I think, the only species that still drinks milk, even if it is from, not even to mention that from another species, but we're the only species that drinks milk into adulthood.
Yes, exactly.
As a constant form of food. So they've done a really great job of lobbying and making people think that we need it for bone density, we need the calcium, we need this, and of course we all do need some kind of calcium supplements sometimes. Everybody does.
Ho. There is plenty of calcium in fruits and vegetables.
Thank you.
You can get all the calcium you need. You can get all the protein you need. Here's a great book called Proteinaholic by Dr. Garth Davis about how our obsession with meat, and it includes milk, is killing us, and what we can do about it is that, first of all, you eat too much protein, you expel the rest. It's like people who drink tons of vitamins every day, and then their doctor says, you're really expelling all of it. There's only a certain amount that your body
your body will only absorb what it can absorb.
Exactly. And it's the same thing with protein. And protein has been sold as synonymous with meat. And you hear it today. You hear the head of Tyson and all these people saying we've got to supply protein. There's plenty of protein in this vegan dish. Okay, right. You've got kale. Yeah. Kale has more protein calorie per calorie than steak. Sure. And quinoa is extremely high in protein.
And that's without the cholesterol and all the other bad things that come along with meat as well. You still get more protein, and yet you don't get the cholesterol and all the other, the hardening of arteries and everything else that you get by cooking up a steak or hamburger or something, fried chicken or whatever that people eat. I don't know what they eat anymore. I've been out of the game for a minute. But, going back to what you were saying earlier about even bodybuilders, I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is, sort of considered the king by bodybuilders. He is he is Apollo. He is the walking god of bodybuilders. He's now transitioned into a vegetarian, somewhat vegan diet. And so for the king of bodybuilders to do that, I think that should send a message to a lot of other bodybuilders that, hey, if the king can get his protein from someplace else, and maybe you idolize this man for everything that he's been able to do with his body, and still looks great even into, I don't even know how old the man is now, but he's been around. So he looks great, and he switched over to a diet that's much cleaner. And that's another thing that bodybuilders and people who work out are always they want to eat clean. They want to, they're always looking at the ingredients to make sure the ingredients, there's not too many ingredients on the protein or any other supplement that they're taking, because they do take a lot of supplements. But they want to eat clean. Well, the cleanest that you can eat is to eat plants. You skip the middleman, as they would say, and you go right for, if you want omegas, fish get omegas from plants. Well, then skip the fish and go right to the plants. I mean, why do that? And especially when you have to do so much to meat in order to make it edible. You have to, I think we all had an experience once where we were at a vegan party, but there was a carnivore there, and he was telling us how, or he was telling me anyway, how carnivores are the top of the food chain, and are they're responsible for more deaths in Africa, lions and stuff. And I told him that that's absolutely wrong. That's completely wrong. Wildebeest, which are vegans, count for more, are stronger than a lion. Elephant is stronger than a lion. There's hippopotamus kill more humans and other things, and they're vegan as well. So this whole idea that you need all these things, we've just been programmed to believe these things because the meat and dairy industry have such powerful lobbies. I think they're the third or fourth most powerful lobby in DC behind big oil, tobacco, and pharmaceuticals.
Pharmaceuticals and big meat and dairy are connected, because if you stop eating the meat and dairy, you don't need the pharmaceuticals. The guys won't need the erectile dysfunction pills and the cholesterol lowering pills, because there's no cholesterol in plant-based products. And so your arteries aren't getting clogged. So you're not experiencing erectile dysfunction because those areas are clear. And so, I just want to say, for those joining us, these two ladies are going to be on our virtual Veg Fest LA this Sunday, along with the entire cast of New Day New Chef, Dotsie Bausch. We've got bodybuilders. We've got Chef Babette, who is extraordinary. And New Day New Chef is just an incredible show on Amazon Prime. It's free if you're an Amazon Prime member, and just 99 cents for everybody else. It's super fun. Did you guys have fun doing the show? Did you enjoy yourself, Otep?
I loved it. I had such a good time. And even just I've been a vegan for a long time now, and just learning new recipes and how easy they were, because I'm not that domesticated. So, if I can learn how to make something quick and easy, and it's nutritious, delicious, and also, can help me get some protein, I'm all about it. And I learned so much on just doing that one show with you. And I'm on the first episode, everybody. So watch it. Yeah. But it was so much fun. Our blender dances, everything. It was so much fun.
Yeah, we did
made a lot of good new friends.
Every time the blender goes on, we all dance, and it was super fun. We had a great time doing it. All right, ladies, I know that we've got so much happening. We're going to see you this Sunday, noon to 3 p.m. Pacific, is the Veg Fest LA virtual Veg Fest. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be yoga and all sorts of things. And at about 2:15, we're going to have the cast of New Day New Chef on. Again, here is the entire cast. And we're going to do a panel and talk about everything. Meanwhile, you can watch New Day New Chef. If you're an Amazon Prime member, it is absolutely free. It's only 99 cents for everybody else. We did it through our nonprofit as an educational thing, but it's fun. There's this woman called, I've got to tell you, she's a lesbian blogger, and she just got us a whole bunch of views just yesterday when I gotta end with this because it's so funny. Her name is Mary Reassuring Lesbian, and she has a lot of followers, and she said, "Why didn't any of you jerks tell me there's a vegan lesbian cooking show on Amazon Prime?" And she just went off, and obviously she was having fun with it.
Yeah. But
she loved the show, and apparently I met her once at a vegan event and brought vegan food, which is not like me. Well, maybe I picked it up. I picked it up at a vegan restaurant on the way there. And anyway, so she gave us a little boost, and we got a whole bunch of new views yesterday because of that. Right. But it's a fun show. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to learn, and you're going to laugh. And I just urge you, when the blender dance comes on, whatever you're doing at home, get up and do that blender dance, okay?
Got to get up. Got to do it. Got to do it. Got to do that dance.
You got to make it like a blender, right? We got to make that.
Oh, yeah.
Simone, you
blender
do a
dance.
little blender. Come on, show us a little blender. Show
Yeah,
us the
Simone.
blender, girl.
Oh, there it is. Oh, look out. Get that blender, girl. What? Yeah, I had so many fans reach out to me after I did the show, and and because a lot of them are interested in becoming vegan, but they don't really know how. And this show is a great way to introduce people. Like it's not expensive, it's inexpensive, but that doesn't mean it's not that it's they're still gourmet or very delicious meals, and they're healthy and they're packed full of protein. Whatever you need, you're going to be able to get them, and you're going to be able to make them really simply. So, and it's also a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun making that show. I really enjoyed it a lot.
I love you, ladies. I will see you both on Sunday. Thank you for being here. Carry on.
All right. See you later.
See ya.
All right.